Hey, welcome, all my right thinkers. Thanks for tuning in to check out your boy, P-Funk. Thinking right out here in the land. What I do for you? Oh, I'm continuing on the last lesson I was doing for you. Let's get it started. Rightism, 25 rules to live by. Storytelling, story with a message, message and story for life. I give life lessons. You tune and receive them. We got a good thing going. I appreciate you. Let's do what we do. Right thinkers mission, that's what I'm on, is to enlighten, inspire, educate, and motivate you, the individual, to a higher spiritual level of enlightenment. Right Thinkers Way of Life through mental and spiritual discipline daily will help and guide you to obtain your goal of spiritual enlightenment, aka know thyself. That's my mission, to get all right thinkers to know thyself. Your goal as right thinkers is to tune in and get the lessons, practice them, and know thyself. Let's go. I'm doing my job. You do yours. We got this thing working good for us. Let's rock. To know thyself. That's the question I ask. Do you know you? It's rhetorical. But if you don't have the answer for yourself, tune in. I'll help you with that. That's what I do for you. A person who knows not and knows not that they know not is foolish. Disregard them. A person who knows not and knows that they know not, it's simple. You teach them. That's why I do what I do for you. Appreciate you too. Stay tuned. I got more for you. A person who knows not and believes and think that they know is dangerous. Avoid them. I do. A person who knows and knows not that they know, spiritually asleep. I can awaken them. I'm a spiritual alarm clock here to wake you up with knowledge of yourself. A person who knows and knows that they know, probably wear a hoodie, is wise. Follow them. All these persons reside in you. Right thinkers, know thyself. And to my yacht, be true. I'm finishing up on a lesson with Gab and Newt. This is about our controlling our lower nature, young men. So let's go. And it tells you last I was talking about, I finished up with it is possible that what? That a misdirected practitioner, I call them bootleg preachers, or most of the guys who just ain't about nothing but trying to get what they want. Watch this. They are misdirected practitioners, and they may fall deeper into what? The earthly desires, carnal, physical body, rather than what? Using their talents to transcend the earthbound existence by breathing exercises, physical and mental purifications are necessary what? Before pursuing Tantra yoga. Understand that it's some things you have to do. As right thinkers, you need to prepare yourself to get ready because you have to deal with some things. Watch this. So thus the participants, aka right thinkers, listen. Before you practice Tantra yoga, this is what they had you do. You were not allowed to reach climax, physical sexual orgasm, in order to channel all energies toward concentrating on the goal by what? Developing the development of what? Their life force, energy, and union with what? The transcendental self, the absolute divine through what? Ever increasing ecstasy and devotion to the Urias. That's the, okay, third eye concept. But they're telling you, in order for you to raise that energy, you have to keep it in. No self-pleasure, no sex. And that's for both sides, male and female. What just, well, the man can't know, same thing with the woman. They held same accountable, just same thing. Okay, understand that. Why? Because it's all about energy in the individual. And watch this, it's going to get good. You hear me say devotion to the Urias. Okay, now through repeated stimulation and concentration of the energies to the higher energy center, raising it by what? Supplementing, not doing it. And what happened? The sublimation of what? Your primal sexual mental energy stays inside the body and it goes up. Remember, it rises and symbolizes what? It's symbolized by what? The serpent. What serpent? Apophis. To do that is possible. Why? Because Apophis is thus transformed into what? The divine eye, which is symbolized by the goddess Uraeus, Buto, the Uraeus with the wings. Okay? Apophis is supposed to be a bad guy. But when you understand the concept and you raise your Kundalini, that serpent power, he's at the top waiting for you, and you only know that when you get there. So to everybody else, he's the bad guy, but he transforms and becomes like Bastet, Sekhmet. When her other form, she's a lioness, she's gonna take you out. But when she comes calm, she becomes Bastet. So they all change their character according to the lesson that you want to use them to get across your point. Right now, the Apophis is inside of being good. Why? So see right here. Picture time. See the Apophis? You know who that is? That's Gab's penis. That's what it represents. Now you see at the bottom here, you see that's the Indian Shakti and man Shiva and Shakti doing it. That was the Indian form with the female on top, the man on the bottom. Okay, but that's all teaching you sexual sublimation, holding on to it. Why? Because it's valuable. Left, I just showed you the obelisk represents the penis of Gab. That's Earth. The skyline around it is who? Newt. That's heaven, the cosmos. Thus, by directing your sexual energies toward heaven, what's going up, going up. I keep telling you that, going up. The unification of what? Heaven and earth within one may be affected. That's when Gab meets Newt again. Okay, it happens inside you. Now, that's the concept of ecstasy. That's the spiritual orgasm. Moving on. It ain't physical, it's spiritual, it's internal. The Indian Kundalini yoga, watch this. Now, they exercise it real good too. Yoga system, which teaches the development of what? Your sexual energy. How? Through the development of your 7 energy consciousness. I just gave you that lesson. Okay. But in the spiritual body is viewed as what? An outgrowth of the Tantra yoga system. Because they're going to teach you the physical aspects of it. It seeks to what? Unite what? The life force energy, goddess, Kundalini, Shakti. The Egyptian goddess, I told you, that's Buto, the female aspect of Apophis. You got Buto, Aset, and Nut, the female principles, which the male principles, Shiva, in India is Shiva. In Egyptian, you got Ra, Asar, and Geb. All these are principles that have the counter opposite, okay, to make them whole. The Egyptian system of yoga philosophy does not condemn sexual activities in the pursuit of spirituality. Why? Rather, as it espouses the responsibility and the balance, aka Maya, in all areas of activity, including your sexual activity. We saying don't. We just saying understand what you're doing. That's all. Again, moderation. Again, equanimity. Balance with it. That's all. We don't understand that. We're going to either overdo it or underdo it. We ain't going to never do it right. So understand that. But watch this. What happened? It promotes wisdom as to what the true nature and the purpose of sexual intercourse. It was meant for reproduction. We use it now as a way of life. We sell on it, sex sells. See? Okay, moving on. But it also means keeping the balance. Nobody said don't. And watch this. Keeping the balance is what? A deeper implication of the scales of Maya. Again, and the Egyptian scripture advised one what? Not to indulge what? In extremes. Why? Because one extreme leads to another. That's why. With balance, you understand the both, and you won't do too much one or the other. That's balance. True balance. Balance, consistency, and equanimity, again, are keys to sanctity. Sanity, excuse me. If you continue to do something that's not imbalanced, not done right, you're never going to be successful. And speaking of success, success and sustained progress in any endeavor takes what? Balance, consistency, and equanimity. These are qualities that you can adopt and you can use and you'll benefit from them. That's the purpose of it. Now, moving on. Tantra yoga was also practiced by the early Indus Valley civilizations too. And what? Met with opposition from who? From the invading Aryan race from Eurasia, okay, who tried to what? Suppress it and to install what? Their system, which included many gods. This was later called Hinduism and Vedanta. Archaeological and historical evidence supports the idea that what the tantric philosophy teachers were carried on in the writings they call what the Upanishads, which are said to be what part of the Vedas, religious teachings of the invading Aryans, but which are viewed by what's this by one scholars by some scholars as an attempt to tantric masters to what reestablish and preserve the tantric teaching. Remember, when you're doing something against the powers that be, you have to go what underground. You have to take it what off the main. Why? If they don't want it, it ain't gonna make it in the mainstream. Simple. I ain't mainstream. I ain't worried about that. I could care less about mainstream. I'm doing what I do for you. Let's go. So I'm not big on being all that nonsense. Nope, that's not for me. Listen, I just showed you the picture with the two having sex. The first was Callie. Now Callie, ooh, that's her on top. Okay, that's the Callie. They call it the Callie position. But you know the goddess Callie, she ain't the one to be messing with. You might not want to. No. In the movie Harlem Nights, when Delary said, I got a girl so good, her stuff is so good, you thought but air is sunshine. Richard said, I don't want that. My man said, well, I like to have that. Yeah, not really. So trust me, be careful what you wish for. But this whole concept is the females on top. You got Shiva and Shakti and the Kundalini and Prakriti concept. And what's this? This called the divine union. Man and woman is divine union. Not just get together and we just bump it around. No, it's a divine, watch this, it's divine union, as was with Asar and Aset. When they come together, they create Haru, me and you, okay? Humans, okay? Aspirants who want to be better. That's what the human person is supposed to come to the world to what? Know themselves. Then you got Shiva again, watch this. Shiva, the man, is the passive aspect. Why? We in the bottom. We just gonna let it do its thing. Women got to move. And watch this. Who gives the life in the essence, the spirit. But then you got the creative impetus, which is Shakti in energy, creation, the active aspect of God. That's the female part of us. Come on, fellas, don't get caught up in the male chauvinist nonsense. Now, this creation is akin to what? The idea of God making what? Love with himself. I told you, he had the sperm to masturbate and take it in to be impregnated. So that's the same concept. Everybody understood it. Why? That's the best way to explain it. So moving on. Then you got Shiva and Shakti. And watch this. Shiva and Shakti are the true essence, according to the Hindu philosophy, in the essence of the human beings. Watch this. Composed of what? Spirit and matter, body, and what? In the active aspect, the female is the active position, while what? The male is in the passive position. Again, fellas, let the woman do her thing. She's in control. And above to the right, I gotta show you that in a minute. The Buddhist represents what? The Dharmakaya, the comic father and mother. We all saw God as both male and female. Again, expressing what? The idea of a supreme being as what? As a union of both male and female principles in reference to what? Sexuality. Buddha is held to have said, women are the gods. Women or life be ever among women in your thoughts. I'm God conscious. I got nothing but Bayada on my mind. I practice that philosophy, so I'm right on point with the concept. I didn't like it, but I agree and understand why I practice it, so it's okay. The life force. Life force is that stuff that creates life. Hence, life force. Men, fellas, you got Ra, the sun, perpetual life force, energy. You got Sekhem, which is what we call the serpent power that's in man. The Indians call it prana. Chinese call it chi. Okay, but it is the part of any undertaking, and what's that? And is increased normally as what? As one progresses along any path of spiritual development. Gave that lesson too. That's becoming spiritually enlightened. It's the development of living, understanding, and manifesting for yourself. And the spiritual will manifest for you in reality. Watch this. Spiritual development, regardless what? Of whether it is affected consciously or unconsciously. It may be said that what? No undertaking is possible without what? Without this force. Life. An ability to what? Create life with the force energy. We call it sperm. Indeed, life would not exist without it. Hello. Stop and put a pin in there for a second. In order for life to be created, you have to have the life force. Hence, sperm. When attuned by himself, he had to have the ability, or Ra, whatever you want to call it, but when he was by himself, in order for him to become three, duality has to come into play. Hence, you have the opposites. Duality to come in what? To give you choice, free will, so to speak. If you just do one thing, there's not free will. If it's just mandatory, that ain't free will. This gives you free will. You're the deciding factor. That's why my outfit is straightforward. If you do that, you'll be fine. Why? She ain't swaying this side or that. She ain't gonna, no, straightforward. That's the concept. Okay, let's understand that. But the life force is what's in us. And men, that's what comes out of us to create life. To give this to another man, they ain't gonna create life. I'm just saying. Female. It is important to understand that nothing is to be given up. That is to say what? When it is stated what? That one refrains from what? Physical orgasm. That means you holding it in. We done got so far away from understanding semen retention and control and abstinence, and that gives us energy. Why? Because if we give it to another person, it can create life. Hence, life force. So, young men, you start to think about that thing a little different. Once you understand the power that they have, you got some powerful weapon there. Destruction or creation, I keep telling you that. When we get better at using it, things will change for us as a people. Trust me. Why? All this unwanted, all this sexually transmitted diseases, we cut all that nonsense out and get back to just living. How about that? We create our own, again, fetters. We fetter feel. Why? Because we're ignorant and we keep doing self-destructive behavior and thinking something's going to change. But we don't change. Moving on. Sorry about that. Now, it is meant that what? That this is not practiced. Watch this. In order. Semen retention is not practiced in order to experience what? Orgasms. What? Or on a higher level of consciousness. Again, that spiritual orgasm is bliss. That's that peace. That's that calm that just feels so good. But with that, you don't have to go sleep. As you have to go get another one. No, you have to take a hit. None of that. It's just natural. You can just exude that with what? Thought and consciousness and meditation and putting it to use. Watch this. Now, if there is a feeling, that's all it is. It's a feeling of what? Giving. If you feel like practicing right thinking philosophy means you giving up, then the subject, you are not ready to practice this discipline. Why? There are many roads to spiritual evolution. Like I said, I only know one. Why? The one I took. So I'm telling you mine. I'm not telling you a whole bunch of others. I know what they are. So I'm saying this road. However, watch this. Some control you have to have some control of what your bodily urges and your sexual desires must be exerted to channel what your energies to any desired goal in life. You got to put that thing on hold to take care of the things. If that's what you're living for, you distract yourself from other things. Some people wake up in the morning thinking, how can I get some today? Who am I going to do it? Jesus Christ. Been there, done that too. So I understand. So there have been many married, what's this? And fully active people, both male and female, throughout history, who became enlightened beings. How? Since all souls have accumulated different experiences based on your experience in life, based on how conscious you are of who you are. Watch this. Experiences are going to be different levels of spiritual evolution, but each one of us must choose their own method of spiritual discipline. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm just telling you how to do what it is you should do for you. So it's a whole bit different animal. Everybody got a different concept, and that's what God's different for everybody. He makes it that way. In no one set way. If it's 9 billion people, you got 9 billion ways to get to God. I mean, every individual has that right. That's the point. That's what we all created equal means. We all got the same thing. We don't all start the same place or have the same thing, but we all got the same thing internally. The situations we don't control. Us, we do. Master self. That's the whole point of knowing thyself. Then you have a bunch of excuses for what you didn't do. Master yourself is success in life. Y'all worrying about a good job, a good this, money. That ain't success. So knowing thyself is the biggest thing you can do. And watch this. Spiritual discipline ain't for everybody. Why? Because total or partial celibacy, abstinence, can only be effective when if the willing subject is ready and willing and freely, I can't make you go to sexual semen retention. Stop doing that. No. You have to be freely willing to choose that path and that option. Otherwise, watch this. My discipline would not work for you, and it might even be harmful since you the subject. Consciousness is your subject, you individual, your consciousness is still very attached to your physical nature, your lower nature. You rather satisfy this than this, and a lot of people get caught there. I'm understanding that, but I'm trying to help those who want to change. This is what you got to do. That's all. Now, watch this. Depriving oneself from natural needs and desires is neither wise nor healthy. If you're not prepared to be a monk, you're not prepared to control your low nature, you can't be a nun. Why? These are things that you have to have in check for yourself. They're not going to watch you every day. Make sure you ain't doing it. No, you got to hold yourself accountable. That's all. But however, there you go. However, natural needs and desires change. Well, yeah. We talked about the joke about life, but natural needs and desires, physical change. Why? Because the body changed according to one's level of evolution. All the philosophical and religious systems, watch this, now that's in existence, are at best merely just guidelines or just general outlines of the way. And that's fine. Some of it just need that. But the map is not the land. You need to get there. Pyramid, perfect example. There's a bunch of stuff at the bottom. I can't even get the glare out of there. But at the top, it's real thin. Okay, understand that. That's why, of course, going up, everybody ain't going to put in the work it takes to get to the top. That's life. Everybody had their own choice and responsibility. So that's what the name of the game about life. You go as far as you want. Moving on, let me get this thing while I see the clock running. I got another lesson, got to be another part. All right, but the statues, watch this. The statues that you see are depictions of the God men. And what happened? They suggest to the initiate you that the way to achieve, listen, higher mental and spiritual power is by supplementing one sexual energy. And I've been preaching this for the last 5 years. Fellas, you got to control your lower nature. Now, in this whole yoga concept, that's what they taught. So that's why I brought it up. I said, and maybe it's time to bring this out. It's going to be a few lessons. That's what I'm saying. It's extensive, but it's very informative. And if you understood it, you might change your viewpoint about that thing between your legs. That's my goal, hopefully. Now, in one statue, you got man shown holding what? His erect penis with his left magnetic hand, signifying what? That the sexual energy is being what? Drawn back into the body and up to what? The higher energy centers instead of what? Being allowed to go out of the body. In this manner, the human body what? Becomes a crucible for what? The creation of what? Higher physical and mental spiritual states of being, aka consciousness. Knowing thyself, having control over your lower self is very important. Okay, I would call my lower self back today my ego. Okay, the little fella was my ego. I would want to tell people, kiss me on my ego. And the women knew what I was really saying. They slapped my face. So see how symbolic things, you can just throw things around. And once they saw how to hide stuff in plain sight, that's when he been tricking us ever since. That's my lesson. But let's get understanding. You have to become conscious in all three phases: physical, mental, and spiritual. Moving on. Okay, let's go. Now, as stated earlier, you have the principles that's represented by the God Set. Remember him? Your ego. Watch this. Do you know what his principles include? Physical strength. He was stronger than anybody. Sexual promiscuity. He will have sex with anybody. Okay. Passion and just brute force. He would continually. I tell you, he's the dog in the fight. Excuse me, he's the fight in the dog. They say they sides of the dog that's in the fight. It's the size of fighting the dog. Set is the fight inside you. And depending on how it is, that's how it's going to be. Brute force. Watch this. Set has one more important meaning. Watch this. With regard to sexual intercourse. The derivative word seti, S-E-T-I, which comes from the word set. You know what it also means? To shoot. Okay? As in shooting the arrow. And if the arrow misses the mark, you're a sinner. But the idea, shooting the arrow or what? Shooting that other thing. And if it ain't into a female, you're missing the mark. So if you're just wasting it, you're set. Yeah, sexual certified. Watch this. Perfect example. I watched it and make the point real clear to you. Fellas who just in love with touching themselves, just in love with, watch this. Or just having a psychological issue. You can't get a girl, so you take matters in your own hands, whatever. But watch this. That's not good. From several mythological stories, it is clear that Set cannot control his sexual desires. Most men had the same problem. Let me help you out with this right now. I'm not talking about you. I'm just giving you the concept of you. You don't have no control of your sexual desire. No, nor does he have what? The ability, what? To contain his semen. He just got to have a nut. Remember, got to get a nut? Yeah, I'm just scrub, trying to get a nut. We all, that's the whole concept. Watch this. We knew about that long ago. But watch this. He cannot contain his semen to the point where, in one story, the episode is, his battle with Haru and Set. Set tried to catch Aset, right? For what? In order to have intercourse with her. You're going to rape her, okay? But being unable to what? To do so, he couldn't catch her. Okay, smart. What happened? He ejaculated on the ground out of frustration. Thus, that tells you anybody who masturbates is doing the same thing Set did. We call it killing babies when I was in prison. Okay? So, Set represents, again, the animal tendency to what? To direct energy out of the body without control and to think passionately. That's just wasting your life force. Reacting to life events without thinking. That's ignorance of self. Why? You know you're responsible for that action. And if you react and stop thinking, you're going to do things that's going to be harmful and regretful to you. That's why knowing that self is being in control of that emotion. Okay? I ain't perfect. Sometimes I get, okay, but that's what you have to work on. If you're not good at something, you practice, work on it. That's how you get better. Just knowing you ain't good at it, so I just ain't gonna do it. No, you got to be better at what? Yourself, if nothing else. Men, watch this, is the aspect of Haru who what? Who restores justice after what? The brutal murder of Asar as what? The victorious one over the enemies of his father. Man is victorious over what? Over the primeval animal tendencies to what? Passionate behavior and ejaculation. If you have to get a nut, so to speak, you are a sectarian, egotistical person. If you think that's all about that, then that's you. And watch this. That's ego. That's set. That's what I'm trying to explain to you. And get this before I close it out. Men's victory is what? Not one of self-destruction over the primeval forces, but what? But one of mastery, control, and sublimation of those forces that you have control of once you know thyself and get the understanding of what that thing below your waist is really about. This is education about knowing thyself below the waist and getting understanding about how strong that thing is and what its power is, how powerful it really is. So I'm gonna end the lesson. And in closing, right thinkers, may you live to be 100 and me 100 minus a day. So I never know the right thinkers like you passed away. This is lesson number 2. We got one more to go. I'm not done. I'll be back.